What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Personified Fandom. I am Josh Meaney, and today I am joined by the one, the only Mr. Mike Dags. Mike, how you doing?
What's going on? A plow went by my house right as you said that, so we'll see how the audio sounds on this.
We about to find out.
I'm great.
And also joined with us, the one, the only, also, Mr. Toke, Mr. Ginty. How you doing, man?
Doing fantastic, man. How you been doing this week?
Rocking and rolling. And we got a plethora of topics to talk about today. Mike, you want to kick us off with some topics?
Yeah, I'll start with the one you actually just threw out here today. So I did read about it, which is that Hellboy has a reboot in the works. And
yes,
I, for one, am not... The needle is not moving for me on this one. Unfortunately,
what's the name of the movie? What's the movie?
Hellboy.
What? Who's that? What's that?
Boys Hell. If Ron Perlman's not attached to it, I don't care, and he's not. So I'm not.
Oh, for real.
So I will say I liked the first Hellboy.
Yep.
I never ever, again, to say it for the umpteenth time, I never read much comics growing up, so most of these movies and stuff just completely, like, I have no source material to go off of, but I really liked that. The character design for Hellboy is so cool. Like, just the...
Absolutely. Has
to shave his horns down or he becomes evil, and, like, has the one big arm, and, like, it... Just a cool concept, and I always kind of liked it. It's one of those weird things that I feel like if it was a cooler character, I would, like, totally get a tattoo of, because he's just so badass looking. But I don't love it that much. But I did like the first one. The first one was fun. And I like Ron Perlman. And the second one was bad, and then...
So bad.
Did they have... I don't remember how many there was. Was there 3 with Perlman?
No, 2. There was only 2 with Perlman.
It was Hellboy and then the Golden Army or something like that, right?
Yes.
And that was one that was kind of killed
so
it.
Bad. I didn't even see the one that they rebooted with David Harbour. I never even saw that one because I heard how bad it was. And I was kind of excited when they first cast him, and I remember they first put out that picture of him, like, all decked out as Hellboy. I was like, yeah, I can see it. This is probably going to be dope. And it had, like, it came out the gate with, like, a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, oh, that's not looking good. And I went through the reviewers, and I was like, I'm not even going to waste my time. Not even going to waste my time.
I'm not going to even lie, dude. I honestly didn't even know they rebooted it with David Harbour. I saw pictures online and everything with David Harbour as Hellboy. I thought it was a Halloween costume. Not going to lie.
That's brutal. Yeah, it's weird, too. Like, you would think... I mean, what a failed kind of thing. Like, it's kind of unfortunate because I love him in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really done anything else that's like, I feel bad for him. Like, I know he has, it seems like he has the range and the ability. I mean, he does. I mean, the last season of Stranger Things, he was amazing in.
Yeah,
so
he was great in Black Widow.
Yeah, he was amazing.
That movie.
That movie was terrible. That's what sucks.
Movie was terrible,
like,
but I did like Red
awesome.
Guardian. You know, I was like, I did gravitate towards that character, and he's coming back in Thunderbolts. So we'll see him again as Red Guardian. Maybe that'll be good for him. Like, I saw an article. He actually said that it is time for the Stranger Things to end.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he's also kind of done with it too. But I'd love to see him go on and just do more because he's fantastic.
He is good. Yeah, he really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. There's not much else in that article other than they're just gonna try and reboot it again. With the original.
Yeah.
The director of Crank is doing it, which. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what that.
Okay, great. Another movie that I loved as a kid, but then when I had any sort of sense of sorts of what a good movie was, I went, it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's good, but I have no hope for it. You know, if that makes sense. Like, if it's good, that's great, but I don't care. I probably won't even watch the trailer for it. Like, I just don't care.
I'm pulling for it.
Yeah, they did say that they're taking some of the most beloved stories from the comics to make this. Okay. So maybe it can survive in a space where people who are fans of the comics maybe
depends who you get as direct. Well, yeah, you said the director of Crank was doing it.
Yeah,
I don't know his catalog besides Crank, and based off Crank, that seems weird. I don't know who the writers are.
Based off them saying that it's the director of Crank, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I think that's what the cornerstone is, what he's hanging his hat on, which I don't know if that's a great thing, but
no, it's not a good sign.
So that, I mean, hey, we can always be surprised, right? I mean,
yeah,
you never know. Maybe they'll cast somebody. Maybe they'll cast The Rock. Maybe he'll get so much recognition that they'll cast The Rock, and it'll just be this juggernaut of a movie.
I don't know.
I mean, we see him in shirtless and everything else. We haven't seen him red yet. We haven't seen him red yet. No. So another. I mean, he would probably love that idea. Fits the build and everything.
But he'll do anything. I feel like The Rock will literally do anything. You're like, how much you pay me? Sure, I'll do it.
He's the A-list version of Nicolas Cage. Like, Nicolas Cage will just do any movie. The Rock will too. Perfect. He just is looked at like, oh, it's The Rock.
Yeah, honestly.
Man. Nicolas Cage. Dude, he's in a movie called Nick Cage. Come on.
Yeah.
But Nicolas Cage should play Hellboy.
I would love that.
Bring it.
That could sell me. Oh, man.
Have to go
the
see
prospect of that. I would be down with that. But speaking of people that make things better, Steven Spielberg originally turned down directing the very first Harry Potter of the franchise. Which, what are your thoughts on that, Toke? Because you have the platform 9 3/4 sign right there.
You know, I'm actually, I had no idea he was originally attached to it, but seeing it, it's like, you know what? Obviously, I love the series. I think that all the movies did a great job. Everyone who, you know, the director they had did fantastic. You know, Steven Spielberg, God, I mean, who knows the direction it would have went in? I mean, one can only imagine at this point. But, you know, he turned it down because they were doing all the filming in London and he wanted to spend time with his family and his kids that were young and growing up. So he's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. And then it turned out, obviously, to be the full-length series of all the books. And it's like, yeah, it's probably a good thing I turned that down.
I think I watched the thing. I'm a pretty big Harry Potter nerd at this point. Didn't see it coming in my life at this point, starting at 30. I've read a bunch of stuff, and I watched a behind the scenes like story about how the movies were made, and they, from the jump, they wanted to make every entry with different directors to just to breathe because a lot of people, you know, they were coming out with the movies so fast after the books that people were like, well, how are you gonna really let this breathe at all if you're just like the book comes out in May and the movie comes out in February? How is that gonna, you really, you know, it's gonna get a lot of hype, but you're not gonna give a good chance to digest it. And that was their point, was to have different directors come in and kind of direct every movie in the series. So I don't know how. I mean, I can imagine it being maybe a little bit better, but I mean the first few movies are so good that I don't.
They are. Yeah.
They are.
How much more magic could have Spielberg done? I mean, they probably would have had longer run times, maybe.
Yeah. They were pretty lengthy already.
Yeah, I mean, the first one verbatim is pretty much the entire first book. Like, not many of them deviated from the books too much, but especially the first one. The first one is like word for word, basically. So I don't know. I mean, again, I would love to see this. Love to have seen Spielberg make it. Maybe in some weird future where my dream comes true and they make a reboot show of it, like an HBO type of show for the Harry Potter books. Maybe he directs.
Well, there's a rumor that they're doing a Hogwarts show on HBO Max. That rumor started floating around like a day or two ago because of the success of Hogwarts Legacy and because of the kind of failure of what they tried to do with the Fantastic Beasts. You know, they didn't get back what they wanted, but then they see people are going crazy over this Hogwarts game. And then I guess in the latest movie, Fantastic movie, they go to Hogwarts at some point, and there was a lot of like crowd reaction from that. So they're seeing like that's what the fans want to see if you're not going to do Harry Potter himself, you know what I mean? Because Hogwarts is almost a character in itself in the whole thing. Yeah, so doing that is so perfect.
Exactly. That's a great point, because I was going to say that one of my favorite things of the books is, so personally, my favorite book is the sixth one? Yeah, the Half-Blood Prince. And that's because in the one before it, the Order of the Phoenix, they kind of go away from the school. And then in the ones after, they're not even in the school, because like the end of the series, they're not really in the school at all, except for the last battle. But in the sixth book, it's like back to like that, how magic and normal life kind of gets balanced. And that's like my favorite part. The school is one of my favorite parts. And I love being in it. Like, I'm playing through the game right now, and I love being in the school. It's just so, like you said, it's a character itself, and just the magic of that. It's really cool. So I would be all in for a TV show.
Especially from HBO.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
they can pretty much do no wrong.
Yeah.
They're like pre 2014 Bethesda at this point.
Dude, they're fucking,
everything they make is gold.
They're knocking them out of the fucking park right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Steven Spielberg, I feel like you said, the first one was so good, but to have him do at least one, you know, because he turned this down to be with family, but he could have did Half-Blood Prince, you know, Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, that would have been way better.
The one I really want to see him do is the first one. I feel like his Sorcerer's Stone would have been. I mean, when it comes to stuff like that, like fantasy, he's the best in my opinion. Like, there's no director better than Steven Spielberg.
No.
Come on.
You could have probably you probably could have asked me 10 years ago, and I probably would have thought that he did it. You know, because that's right up in his wheelhouse. So, I don't blame them at all for going to get him, because it's like, the biggest franchise in the world at the moment.
Right, and if they do the show, he could even direct an episode. You know, I don't want him to just be like, oh, I'm not going to do it now because I turned it down for the first one back in 2001 or whatever. Like, the door is still open for him to come in and do something, and I hope he does.
I think it is with him giving that interview. I think that's kind of what he's alluding to. Like, there's no sour grapes. He said he's not upset that he didn't do it, but still, I mean, that's perfect opportunity. Yeah. That's like a lot of franchises that. I mean, this seems to be a theme for this week, is franchises being rebooted. This isn't our next topic isn't necessarily, there's no news on this, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. This is kind of our own creation, with the cast photo of the Back to the Future cast with Michael J. Fox. Drawing blanks on all the names. Jesus Christ. Christopher Lloyd. Who plays
Leah... what's her name?
Leah Thompson.
And
whoever
I never remember who plays Biff.
I never remember him. But we got thinking that would you want to see a Back to the Future reboot? Josh, I'll kick it to you because this was kind of your idea.
I would not want to see a reboot. I don't think they should ever do it. In fact, Robert Zemeckis said when he was asked about it, if they could ever reboot it, he said over his dead body. That was literally what he said. And I'm like, you're damn right. You don't reboot it. But to do a sequel, like something still in that world, sure, give it a shot. I mean, you're going to do it at some point anyway. I can't stop you. Hollywood loves doing this. So if you were going to do either one, I don't want to reboot. I won't even give you a chance, a shot at it. I won't watch it. Like, you're going to reboot one of the best science fiction films of all time? Like, no, absolutely not. So I'd like to see a sequel. I'd even like to see it with the same cast. I know that's another trend in Hollywood, bringing them back, but I don't know. You could come up with some sort of exciting story for that, I think, if you get the right people to pull it off.
Yeah,
I had commented this Back to the Future was on my list of top 100 movies, and I had included it in the video of movies that are part of a series, and I think that the first one is the only really really good one. The second one's fun. The third one I never really personally liked, but there's parts of it that I kind of liked, but the first one probably has the cleanest time travel story.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, I'm sure that I'm missing some that, probably have it tighter and less convoluted than some movies where it's like they go back in time and then forward and back and forward and back and forward, and it screws everything up and kind of ruins the continuity. But the first one really is one of the best time travel movies I think ever done. And the only reason I would be wary of them doing a sequel is just because you saw in the sequel they kind of started mucking it up and making it weird and not make much sense. But I'm actually surprised overall that there hasn't been a sequel or any sort of other thing, because it is a super successful movie. I mean, Michael J. Fox's whole career was launched from it. It's still a prominent household name, I think, mainly due to that movie.
Yeah, it holds up. It really does to this day. I think the first Back to the Future, I feel like the one that feels super dated is the second one. But going back to the first one now, it holds up really well. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, I love the whole trilogy I love, but obviously the first one is the best. But I would not mind seeing a sequel, and I think with the technology and the way they do stuff and everything with movies, they could still do it. Michael J. Fox could still come back and play Marty McFly. There is definitely a way. Christopher Lloyd, I mean, we've discussed this in the past on previous episodes. Like, he holds Doc Brown near and dear to his heart. This is like he loves playing this character, and he did it for 3 movies. He's done it in little gimmicky appearances for this and that, and it's just like one of these things that he loves to do. And there is, yes, we all know, DeLorean was destroyed in the third one. We all know with the timeline, there's ways to find that DeLorean again. They could do a movie in 2015.
The gigawatts.
I mean,
21 gigawatts.
But he also,
the formula.
But at the end but also Doc he turned up the damn train into the fucking time machine. So we know he's got a time machine still. I mean, there's ways to make it work, and do it with and have them in it, but base it on Doc's kids. They're not. I was going to say
different characters would be a breath of fresh air, and have them even if cameos.
Exactly. I'm totally okay with not, like I said, not a reboot, an actual continuation.
Yeah,
they appear, and do little things here and there, but you have some new characters and continue the whole storyline, and just stop rebooting everything, please, Hollywood. Stop.
Honestly,
there's no need to reboot every damn thing.
Why do they think it works? Like, it's so clear and apparent that it fails. Like, but most of them aren't successful.
I don't even think it's the fact that I don't think it's because it's working. I think it's because they have no more fucking ideas.
I don't think it's the ideas. It's the thing is, and I can't credit this idea myself. I watched a video on it, basically explaining your exact point, and it's because it takes so much money and time, mainly money, and we all know that money is what motivates everything in that industry. It just takes so much. To put $100 million into something, they almost want to guarantee that they'll make some money. And it's like, you say they fail, but at what are they failing at exactly? Critically? Well, if you make $70 million, if it goes over the budget. So, if it takes $150 million to make and it opens and makes $240 million,
you made money.
Profit. That they don't care if people liked it. Now there are not. That is to say that I never buy into the fact that Hollywood's full of people that just only care about money. There are people that work there that want to make successful things. They care about it. It's just that overall it gets bogged down by how much did it make. So, to buy into a new script and a new idea, it's a lot. I mean, it's $100 million, man, that they're, mostly that's like what the average, what movies cost to make, like 80 million or something like that. So to put new ideas that, let's face it, the average person, are they going to go watch an original idea starring who knows what and what it is about and who cares, written by, I don't know, or are they going to go see Back to the Future Split in Time, whatever. They're going to recognize that name and go, oh yeah, Back to the Future, I love that movie. This must be, I don't care who wrote it or is directing it. I just want to see the DeLorean, and I want to see Doc Brown, and I want to see Marty McFly. That's it. So that's why they keep rebooting things, is the name. It's always the name. It's always got something to do with that. That really is
a perfect point. And to add to that, it's like when people want these more creative movies to come out, but then when they come out, you're not going to see them. They're not making any money. That's why they don't want to keep doing it. But then you have these little successful, low budget, like the A24 films, like Ex Machina. They have a lower budget, and they're successful because of that, and they're the creative ideas.
And hopefully
but they're
that
really the only ones doing it.
Yeah, hopefully that company can stay low too, because actors know that if they go there, they're going to get to make something that's more out there, as opposed to just some fucking generic action movie.
Right.
It's kind of like I had this discussion with a friend who, this doesn't hold anymore because they wound up going the other way, but me and my friends all wanted a baseball game for Xbox for the longest time. And everyone was like, why don't they make, MLB The Show and put it on Xbox? Or like, why doesn't Xbox have an MLB game? And it was because that, baseball itself is a dying, like, the fan base isn't what it used to be. It's old people. Old people watch baseball. So the niche sport now that nobody really watches, the video game of that you think you want, but it doesn't sell. Why would they invest in making a game when no one even buys the one that's already out? It's just this weird thing. It's money talks, bullshit walks.
Yeah, because the MLB games aren't very good. You're not really doing much. I used to have one of them. I can't remember which one, but it's not like playing like NFL games, and you know what I mean.
I mean, I love baseball games. I
really,
baseball's like 4th on my list for sports, but the baseball games are fun. But again, you have to look at the actual numbers. Who's buying those games?
Right.
Nobody. So they're not going to invest $50 million into making a game that no one's going to buy. Yeah. It sucks for the people that want it. Just like some of these stories that you want, movies that you want, new creative ideas. But nope, they're going with the tried and true and proven commodities.
Yep, they go with whatever works. Kind of like the Venom franchise.
Okay.
But Venom 3 started production. What do you guys think of the first two?
Great. That they were nothing like, compared to all the other movies out there. They weren't like up here with that in the same aspect of like action or whatever, or like really suspenseful to keep you like pulled in. But just something about the movie themselves is just like, I can't stop watching. Tom Hardy fucking kills it in these movies. He's doing a great job. I mean, he's really like just taking it under his wing. Mainly was because of his son that told him he needs to do this. I believe it was his son that told him, he's like, you need to play this. You need to play Venom. So he did it. And they're being successful.
I gotta admit, I never saw 2. One was
You
fine.
never saw Let There Be Carnage?
I never said Let There Be Carnage. I don't know what, it just hit in that moment, that time period where I just wasn't really
feel
big
like
on
it.
movies at the time. Yeah, I don't know why. I never went back to watch it, so maybe I should. Because I was in when I saw when I saw Woody Harrelson at the end of the end credits of the first one, but then I don't know, it came out and it missed me.
I didn't like
which
the
is strange
second
because
one.
I always
which
loved.
is funny. I'm giving you shit for not seeing the second one, but I don't even like it. But like just the intrigue that surprised me. Like you didn't even give it a shot. But no, I didn't like it.
Well, I usually I don't know. I go through ups and downs with movies, much like I do with everything in my life. I go through ups and downs with it, where I'm like super hot on it, super cold, and if I don't hear anything like. If it's one way or the other, like if I'm hearing that it's amazing, you should go see it, or oh no, it's crap, don't see it, I'm more likely to go, all right, well, let me check it out so I can make my own opinion about this.
Yeah.
But if I don't hear anything, I'm like, well, there must not have been anything great about it. Never really heard much about it. I actually for a while, I forgot that it even came out. I was like, oh yeah, there's a second Venom. I forgot about that.
I just feel like there's only so long you can go without bringing Spider-Man in. You know, like the first one's interesting, like, yeah, this is fun. Then you get to the second one, it's like, all right, so for real, you're not going to connect it yet? And then there's that post-credit scene, but I'm still not getting much of a connection here. Like, when I see that connection, then I think I'll have fun again. But the second one just... Carnage was dope, but the story was stupid. The story was dumb, and it's like, I mean, the first one, the story was kind of dumb too, but just that first engagement of getting the Venom that we deserved, like, that character was great, and Tom Hardy was great, like, that was enough, but once we got to the second one, it wasn't enough anymore.
Now, like, do you think that's because Venom's primarily been a villain, and trying to bring him and make him a hero, quote unquote, is like just not doing the character its due diligence
in certain elements, because there is like, he is like the lethal protector in some comic runs where he is kind of like an anti-hero, but the way they portray him in the second one, I mean, Venom's walking around telling jokes, he goes to a rave and he's got a microphone, and I'm like, all right, I'm not having fun anymore. Like, I liked Venom in the first one. He was a vicious monster, but then he would do the right thing sometimes, you know? But the second one, he's a goofball. Like, I don't know. It just wasn't a good time for me.
That's what I liked about the second one, because it was just, it was the comic relief that was in there that just made it fun for me, and I enjoyed it. You know, I love the fact that he's just this, because he's not from Earth. He's so ignorant to actual fucking real world shit, and it's just being a fucking... He's like a child. Venom is like a child, and that's what I thought they did a great job of portraying that aspect of him. I mean, he's not here. He's just, I want to do this, and I want to have fun.
Yeah, but then when you think about it, it's like this Venom that they're giving us now in the second one, I can't see him going against Spider-Man. It's just going to feel weird. Like, you're not... Why would you be trying to kill Spider-Man? And that's a huge element of, like, I still got to see that. You know, like, I believe the Venom from the first movie, I could see something going on where he's like, I got to take him out. But the Venom in the second movie, it's like, what do you mean? You guys could be best friends. You know what I mean? Like, you're so much alike.
That's kind of a pickle they put them. And you know that the third, if this now, is this one gonna have Spider-Man in it? Is that what the...
I don't know. I have no...
So if they do, you know it's gonna be... You know it'll be like half the movie they'll be fighting about something, and then they'll end up like teaming up to fight someone else. I mean, that's kind of the way it's set up, because they painted themselves in this corner where you can't now have him the bad guy, because
you can't.
You just painted him in this light for a whole movie. So it's like, it's weird. It's almost like what they did with Book of Boba Fett. It's like, we wanted him, but we didn't want him like that. I don't want the nice guy Boba Fett. I want the assassin dude, not the fucking... it's okay. We'll root for bad guys. You can do bad guys
all the time.
And we will cheer for them. Like,
oh god,
the movie we just did,
for bad guys
Joker.
Doing the worst things possible. Yeah, like the Joker, and we're like, he doesn't have to be.
Like, you can
bubbling
do it
around, making jokes. Yeah,
even in like, I mean, shit, even the Vulture in the Spider-Man movies, you're like, okay, well, I get why he's kind of being a dick. Or like Killmonger in Black Panther. Yeah. Or Thanos. You can do bad guys who are doing bad stuff, but justifiably in a weird, twisted way, where you're like, all right, I don't completely agree, but I understand why he's doing it.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
You can do it. You don't have to... We're not, not everybody in the audience is
doesn't have to get silly. That's where they went wrong with Ultron. In Age of Ultron, Ultron is a phenomenal character. And then I went and saw the movie, and I'm like, he's making jokes about omelets, and I'm like, oh man, there's too much. There's a limit for me, but
a limit for me, just like there's a limit with the It franchise, which a prequel series is in the works at HBO Max. Now, I would normally be off this. This wouldn't be on my radar. I'm not a big horror fan, so I can't speak from a complete place of my take isn't the best. Never is, but it's especially not so here. I liked the first It when they brought the adults in and made it that I just wasn't for it. It's kind of weird, kind of a weird concept that he just. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't really do it for me.
So you like the first one, but not the second one?
I enjoyed the first one. Still didn't care for it, like
really
the concept. But I did like the movie. I thought the movie was done really well.
Like the original movie or the
the newer one.
Okay, so so you liked part 1, not part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, part 2 I just kind of watched just to finish it up, and I was like,
I'm in the same boat. Actually, I love the first one. I really liked the first one, and then the second one I was like, I saw it once. I went to the movies when it came out, and I saw it, and I was like, I'm just not.
I thought I would like it more because like I usually like continuations on
and
stories.
The cast,
but I was like,
the cast,
the cast was great too.
Yes,
Bill Hader
was
fire in that second one. I will say.
Yeah.
Well, they were all great, but Bill Hader was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the original movie. I mean, it obviously holds a special place in most people's hearts for like the horror people, whatever. But and nothing to take away from Tim Curry. Tim Curry fucking killed it as Pennywise. But moving on to the reboot, and I'm very indifferent about reboots. There are some that's just like, oh my god, you fucking killed it, and someone's like, why would you want to reboot this kind of movie? But I feel like in this one, especially with Stephen King movies, the original movies that came out, they were terrifying, they were insane. But if you're gonna reboot these kind of movies, you better do it right. And I feel like they did a fantastic job. But obviously they split it into 2 parts because his books are fucking Bibles. Yeah. All right? They're huge.
Right.
You can't fit a Stephen King book into one fucking movie. You can't do it.
Right.
They try, and they're good, but there's a lot of shit left out.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel the same way. Like, obviously, the first movie of the reboot edition, the first edition, episode part 1, was way better than the second part. But I still feel the second part was great. And I mean, Bill Skarsgård is a fucking insane Pennywise.
He's out of here. Bed Bath and way the fuck beyond.
Oh my, yeah. I mean, it's again not to take away from Tim Curry because Tim Curry is amazing,
great.
But oh my god, Skarsgård fucking knocks it out of the park, and it's not even a fucking. You can't even compare the 2 of them.
Yeah, they're like the Joker, different Joker actors.
Exactly.
Yeah,
both great, but he's just like, elevated it like fucking Heath Ledger elevated the Joker. But I'm very excited for a prequel series, especially with HBO Max picking this up.
That's the only reason I'm intrigued.
Yes,
only reason.
And obviously, and the fact that Andy Muschietti is coming back to direct the series, who did both the movies. And I don't know if I'm assuming it's his wife who was the producer. She's also involved with producing. So it's like, all right, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. And I think it's going to be fucking great because I want to see in their take on an origin story of Pennywise. Because obviously we know from the story that he was an actual person, but is obviously whatever. It's from an outer space entity that takes over and boom.
Yeah,
but
happens every 25 years or something like that.
Yeah, every 27 years.
27 years, yeah.
So we get to see the beginning of him doing all this shit. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with it, and I'm excited for it because I want more Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't know if it says in this article if he's back. I don't see, like, I need to hear that. I need them to tell me that if he's in it, I'm totally on board. HBO Max, Andy Muschietti, Bill Skarsgård. It's like, I gotta watch this. Like,
yes, and I could be wrong, but I know I could have sworn I've seen things where he's talked about this Welcome to Derry prequel series where he is all about coming back to do Pennywise. So
Yeah, and in that sense, I could be on board with it. I would definitely check it out. Probably, I'd be more wait to see the reviews. And again, I'm not a big horror guy, so it'd be a lot tougher to get me into it. But
I have my ups and
what
downs.
It would do.
Yeah, with the horror, I have my roller coasters. It's like I have my peaks. Where, let's go horror, and then it's like, I'm not into it right now. I don't care, and I'll take a couple of years off of that shit, and then I'm like, oh, did you see? No, didn't see that. Nope, didn't see that. I'll watch.
It's always something special when a good horror film comes out. Like when a real good one comes out, it's I don't know. That's a good feeling because you don't get a lot of them.
Because this one like reignited my love for it because I was like, all right, I have to watch it. So I did, and I was like I couldn't do anything. I was raving about part 1 for months. Yeah, I was like, if this doesn't fucking win all these fucking kind of awards, everything. Plain and simple, because it was so good. Everybody, the entire cast fucking killed it. And I didn't talk about the second one as great, but I still loved it. It just not as much as part 1.
Right. Well, sometimes things come out and they're huge buzz and huge hype behind it, and then it kind of fizzles out. I mean, that kind of same thing happened with part 1. I remember it being huge. It was everywhere. Everybody was talking about it. And then I feel like after part 2 came out, people were a little bit divided. Like you said, though, Josh, Bill Hader was kind of the standout of that. But I feel like things are cool now. This could just be me to move on to another point. Things could be cooling down a little bit with The Last of Us. I feel like I haven't seen as much about it as I saw when the series first came out. Now, I don't know if it's just got that this is our like Last of Us show ongoing weekly spoiler talk, I guess we moved on to. So if you haven't caught up with it, probably might want to skip this clip that Josh makes. So I don't know if it's just got that mid-season lull where people know some people. I'd assume most people that are super into this have probably looked into what happens in the game. So I don't know if there's just people waiting for the next like big set piece to happen. But I feel like it's kind of got that point where I watched this today in my office at work while I had some downtime, and I kind of was like doing something else and just kind of like screen peeking and listening and watching, and I don't know, I've kind of cooled off on it. The last episode left off with a big action, like a big emotional piece, and this last episode was kind of a little down, maybe more emotional, but not as much happening.
Yeah, it slows down for sure. Which I mean, I feel like they haven't really slowed down too much, except for the one with Ron Swanson. I can't think of his name, but
Nick Offerman.
For the most part,
Nick Offerman.
Yeah.
Bill.
But I like the latest episode. But I do agree with you. It feels like we kind of came to a halt a little bit. Things kind of slowed down. And one thing that kind of turned me off a little bit is we were talking before about the deviations. This one didn't have many of them. It was pretty much the game, like this whole episode. I mean, which was cool to see, but I don't know. I wish they kind of deviated a little more. It was a lot of shot for shot in this one. Like the scene where he's talking to Ellie and they're having the argument, and she brings up his daughter and everything. Like that was like shot for shot, and it's kind of like I wish they deviated in the conversation a little bit more. But that is a very important part in the game, and it's very important. And I think that's maybe why they didn't deviate in that part. But I kind of wish they did.
Yeah, makes sense.
But overall, I like the episode. And we'll see what happens next. We're getting into a very exciting phase in the game. Like, as soon as it turned winter, I'm like, oh, okay, we're getting there. Like, we're getting to some pretty good stuff. So I'm hoping we'll see that, which actually the previews for the next episode is actually a DLC of the game. It's not even in the original game.
See, I keep messing up and not watching the previouslys or the behind the episode or the next weeks. I don't like to... I've figured it out. I don't like to watch the next week's. I don't want to know anything. I just want to know. I just want to see it when I see it. So I kind of just avoid those.
Yeah, I'm loving the behind the episodes because it gives so much into what they're doing, and they explain parts of the game and why they're doing what they're doing. And I love the whole, the behind. I love it. It's just fantastic.
Yeah. I might go back and watch them because I usually do. Like when they did that with Game, I think Game of Thrones might have been one of the first series to do that.
Yeah.
I know they used to, but they might have been one of the first like shows to really dig in and go over like character motivations and why they even shot a scene in a certain light. And you're like, oh shit, like you kind of think like, oh man, there's a lot of thought that goes into like, know, most people just kind of watch it for what it is and don't think much more into media when they watch it. Like, oh, this is what it is, and this is what they shot, and this is what they showed. But then it is nice to get that breath of fresh air to like find out what the director's like mind was at shooting that to set up future things and to go back to things and stuff like that. So I'm normally dropping the ball on this one. I normally always watch those. So I don't know.
There's also a podcast that goes along. Every episode has a podcast. Phenomenal. It's Neil Druckmann and Craig Mason, I believe is the writer's name. Who he's phenomenal. He's such a good writer. The way he is able to work with Neil Druckmann and bring these characters to life, it surprises me every time. It really does, especially Pedro Pascal. The way he embodies Joel in these episodes is so crazy. Like, what I think of him as an actor, the bar has gone up a lot. Yep. Seeing him do that is crazy. It really is.
Yeah, he's. I mean, obviously, like I said in previous episodes, I've never played the game. I didn't even know it was a game. But from what I've seen with Pedro Pascal, man, the guy, he just can't do any wrong. He can't.
Right.
He's knocked everything he's done out of the park in the past 7 years that I've seen him doing stuff. It's just unbelievable.
Now, did you guys ever watch Narcos?
I didn't.
My wife and I just started Narcos this like a couple days ago.
Yeah, it's excellent. I would say.
And
sorry to cut you off. I just.
Oh yeah, no. And I was like,
amazing.
Oh, Pedro Pascal.
yeah, he's amazing in that too. He's arguably that's where I first knew him from and kind of quote unquote fell in love with him was that role. And so everything I've just been. Yeah, everything just going up. Everything he does.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been killing it, and yeah, dude, seriously, like go back to do the episodes. If you can find just the clips of the after episode discussions, find them and watch them because it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I will.
The passion that they have, it's so apparent.
Yeah,
and I was like, And just to talk about the actual episode itself, it's just really showing that there's been a huge change in Joel. Because he's this hardened guy who's like, no, this is what I care about, and nothing else. We're not going to go back into being a fatherly figure. And then this episode really shows that he really is back into that fatherly role and does really care for Ellie, and he's trying and he wants to protect her.
Yeah.
And they had the argument, and again, not knowing the game, and then sure as shit, they're obviously it's like I knew they're not gonna get rid of him. It's no fucking way. But just to see the way they did it, I was like,
not in that game.
Yes. All right, here we go. And just her. Like, you got two choices. I can do this. And then it's like, and she just throws the shit and it's like, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
I was like, yes.
I love that they added the anxiety, like him having like these anxiety attacks. That wasn't in the game, but it makes so much sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This deviation that they do that still adds to the character. Like, of course, he's finally breaking. He's where he thinks he sees his daughter. Like he just stares at the back, like he is breaking, and that's why he snaps on Ellie. Yeah, the character development they're doing it's incredible. It really is. And I really like the actor who plays his brother too.
Yeah.
And I really like how they portrayed the conflict between him and his brother. Like, of course, Joel's going to be pissed. He's spent all this time looking for you. You were his number one priority. And you find, after all the shit that you went through, and then you find him and he's doing fine. Yeah. He's just big chilling. He's got a kid on the way. Like, if I would have got there, I would have looked at him and been like, fuck you. You know what I mean? You know what I've been through just looking for you. And here you are doing fine.
Hanging out, it's fine.
Yeah, I was good. I'm in the community. It's like, fuck you. I'd be so pissed.
I'm actually thriving,
so
bro.
Wild. Yeah, I'm doing way better than you.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, and I did like the acting. There's a lot of good acting in this, and I love the line where he's like, you know, just because your world ended doesn't mean everybody else's did. You know, It's a great little line there, and I think Pascal did a great job, like admitting that his body's breaking down, and he's not, you know, he's not the survivor, hunter, gatherer type that he, you know, used to be, and it's good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure. I mean, look at the time, his actual age. I mean, you got to figure he's probably in his 40s.
Late 40s.
When the actual outbreak happens.
No, he's
got to be close to if not 40 plus. He's late 30s, early 40s, because his daughter is.
I think he's in his 50s right now.
Because his daughter's late teens.
No, right? She's 12, isn't she?
Yeah, I believe.
Is she 12? Okay, so
he's 12. He's probably 30. He's probably early 30s. And he looks early 30s.
Early to mid 30s. Okay, so he's in his 50s now.
Yeah, I think he's
because it's 23 years later or whatever it is, or 20 plus, at least 20 years later. So he's at least mid 50s, pushing 60.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, the character age.
Yeah.
But and
so it makes sense that
he admits it, and he breaks down with Tommy in that scene where he basically says, I can't do it. You need to take her.
Yeah. That was good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I know some of the stuff that happens coming up in it a little bit, but again, deviations, and I don't know exactly. I've been like kind of teetering on. I kind of want to just like watch a synopsis of the rest of the game just to get a better idea of what's going to happen. But
don't do that. Just go in the way you're going. I feel like
that's what I want to do. I mean, I am actually it's making me want to get the game, but in order to do that, I have to buy a new game system, and I don't feel like doing that. Just to buy one game.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting it all really from the show. That's the best part. Like, you don't got to play the game. If you're watching the show and you're not really into games like that,
I'm happy.
The show will do it.
I'm happy.
Well, the show's been great in showing that whole older brother, father type figure, almost kind of a backwards coming of age tale. And that's exactly what our movie of the week was. In the Peanut Butter Falcon. Is this the part where the music comes in?
Yeah.
Movie of the week.
Twiddle fingers.
Movie of the week. Movie. Yeah, so this is actually the first movie that we've done that I didn't rewatch because I did just watch it for the first time a few months ago. So it's pretty fresh in my brain. What do you just watched it, right, Josh?
Yeah, I watched it for the first time. Yeah.
Okay. What were your thoughts coming in? What were your thoughts coming into it? What did you expect from it?
I didn't really know what to expect. I really didn't. I had seen a trailer, and I'm like, I think I know what kind of movie this is. I think I've seen this before. And then I watched it, and I like it. I do have some issues, but the pros far outweigh the cons in most cases. Like, the relationship between Zach and Tyler, I think was portrayed great. I mean, with the way, just the start of the movie where he has the old lady like pretend to choke and he runs and he gets taken out, and I'm like, oh, so this is okay. So it's comedy. Okay, so we're gonna go in with that plus the heart. And then when he squeezes, even the relationship with Zach and the old man from the nursing home. Like
Carl.
Who is that? That old man. Who is he?
Oh,
he
oh
looks
my God.
so familiar.
I know he's been in a ton of stuff.
I feel like I know. I should have Googled it. I don't know why I didn't.
You know, the sad part is I actually had it, and I'm gonna do it right now. Hold on, because I absolutely have to, because I forget his name, and he's been.
I know I've seen him before.
He's been in a lot of things. Bruce Dern.
Bruce Dern.
So
who's Bruce Dern?
Bruce. He was in The Burbs, Silent Running, The Cowboys, The Driver, Freaks, Nebraska, Family Plot. I mean, he's just one of those guys he's been
kind
around
of pops up randomly,
and you see him.
Yeah, I've seen him before somewhere.
The Hateful Eight, The Great Gatsby, the original Great Gatsby with Robert Redford.
Okay. Yeah, he's old.
Yeah, so I mean. Hang 'em High, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff.
He's
one of those faces, like you see him all the time. You're like, I know that guy. I know this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the relationship with them, I thought that stuff was really good. And then there's the humor. There's some parts in this that are so like when they meet Jasper, the blind guy. Like that part is so random. It's so random. But
are you God-fearing?
Like, fine. Yeah, you black or white, and they just like freeze,
silent,
bucks off a shot. I'm like, you gotta be, or when they almost die with the boat coming.
Yeah,
like, there's so many funny moments, but then there's also like really real moments. Like so John Bernthal playing his brother. John Bernthal doesn't say a word, but the way he's able to like emote through his face, like you get so much of their relationship. He doesn't even say a word. I thought that was fantastic.
John Bernthal always plays. Sorry to cut you off real quick, but John Bernthal always plays this like unbelievable like older brother that everybody wants to have had. Just he plays the like he is the coolest shit. And he always dies as the older brother too, because he was also in did either one of you see The Bear on FX?
No.
Started watching it, haven't finished.
Amazing. I love that show. It's amazing. But I don't want to spoil anything. But he's a very small cameo.
Okay.
It goes along with the whole older brother and always dies in there. I mean, it's spelled out in the beginning of the show. That's why he gets the restaurant. Is his brother dies and leaves it to him. So that's literally the first episode. So it's like a synopsis of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So it always is that like as an audience member, you look up to him like, oh, he's always so cool.
Yes.
Yeah. I love John Bernthal. But yeah, seeing that relationship with him and Tyler, and then I think one of the most impactful moments of the movie for me is when they're on the boat and he tells her to stop calling him a retard, and she's like, I've never called anyone, and she's like, no, he's like, no, but you're telling him that he can't do some shit that a regular person can do. You're basically calling him that. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, I will remember that for the rest of my life. I will always think of that. And I just think that moment. But then, okay, so there's a couple things that I don't really like. Like, what's her name? I think her name's Evelyn. I had it somewhere. But
Eleanor.
You know what I'm talking about. Eleanor. I don't buy her being into Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf, his character, I know we're supposed to like him, but he makes it extremely difficult. Like, he did some bad shit. And I know these rednecks are out to get him, but wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Like, Tyler did some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to root for him, and I just don't buy that she's into him. Like, he comes off super strong in the store, and, like, he's kind of being an asshole, and he looks like he's been bathing in, like, oil for weeks. Like, I just don't buy it.
It's gotta be for his care and how he respects Zach. And and she has that love for him too. Yeah, so it's the only. It's like the Michael Scott thing where he does so much like racist, dumb, stupid, ignorant stuff, and you're like, I hate this guy. But then there's that one redeeming thing that just flips it and makes all the stuff you did like, okay, well, I can kind of see you are a good person at heart. You've just gone through some shit. That's
it's the only reason I can ride with him through the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but it's your relationship with Zach is carrying it. But like,
and
also...
that shows that you're actually a good person. You just had some bad shit happen to you.
Yeah.
That's kind of the message of the whole movie, is that, like, you know, you're never irredeemable, even though some shit happens. You can be, you know, you're not completely worthless.
Yeah. I mean, I fucking love this movie. I have seen it quite a few times. My wife has seen it. I don't even know. So many fucking times. So when I said that I suggested this and that we were going to do this movie, she's like, oh, yes. And it's like, yes, okay, we can watch it. I'm like, yep. Obviously, if I said we're going to watch this, she would have just stopped everything just to sit down and watch this movie. I mean, again, like you were saying with the comedy, it's like you sit here and laugh throughout 90% of this movie because there's so many funny fucking little things that happen. It's like, oh my god. It's like the opening scene where he gets laid out like a fucking like a goddamn football player. Like a, it's just insane. It's like he got plowed the fuck over. It's like, oh my god. Yeah. And then him like, he takes all his clothes off but his underwear and squeezes through the fucking bars. Like, but he doesn't think to take his clothes with him. He just throws them in the room, squeezing out. Here I go, and I'm just gonna run around now in my underwear. But it's just you can't help but laugh. But then you see Tyler, and then they meet, and it's like, no, we're not doing this. And then it's like he comes back because he's trying to avoid the shit going on. And then there's the initial the click, the connection. Like, no, you're not going to do that. He can't swim. And then he gets up there and lays the fuck out of a fucking 8-year-old.
Oh my
12-year-old.
God, that was so funny.
Yeah.
He laid that kid out. You see that kid later, and he's got a black eye. I was like, oh
dude, you're a grown-ass adult, and you just knock the shit out of a fucking 13-year-old.
What did you guys think? What did you guys think of the part where when they're wrestling and he picks the guy up and throws him?
The atomic throw.
It was a little much, but
I feel the same way. It lost me. He threw me out. I was like,
little bit.
Yeah, because we didn't get anything like that. Like, that's just not real. That's fantasy. You know what I mean? We didn't get anything like that before that.
I was okay with, like, now I wonder if there's, like, is this based on a book? Do you know? I feel like this movie's based on a book. And
but
if it was, it's his creation based on the guy who plays Zach. It's his, like, some of his own experiences, I guess.
Oh,
okay.
So that's pretty interesting.
I mean,
I wonder if that's like an amalgamation of like not meant to be taking like he literally did it, but more of like him just doing it was like overcoming all his fears and stuff. I wonder if it's meant to be like a literal thing come to life on screen, because it was very out of nowhere, like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we know he's strong the whole time. Like, they make a point to show that he's like super super strong because he has that R strength. But
yeah.
And then it was that. So yeah, I think the ending kind of fell a little shorter than the rest of the movie for me, because that and the whole, like, did he die fake out.
I didn't like that either, because I feel like if you're gonna do it, do it. Because when I thought he was dead, I was like, oh, this movie just became. This movie got some guts. They went up and him dying in it, much like we talked about I Am Legend, that reboot last week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If they had the balls to actually kill Shia LaBeouf's character, I would have been like, holy crap. Like, that, what a powerful end to this movie. But
so especially the scene where you see her break down, like the doctor comes out and talks to her, she starts crying, then it does a close-up to Zach. I'm like, oh, he's gone. And all the emotion that I was going through, but then he's alive, and I'm like, what do you Marvel?
It's kind of
like,
a cheap. It's kind of a cheap.
I was kind of upset by that, but
I actually like the fact that they didn't kill. I like that. I actually enjoyed that ending. It made it that much better for me. And same thing with my wife, my brother, and But so my brother watched this movie with his friend recently as well, and he said the movie was fantastic. He hated the ending because they killed him. He basically stopped watching the movie before they turned around and fucking woke him up.
Funny.
And it's like he had no idea he was still alive. He's
just
like,
shut it off.
They fucking killed him.
Bullshit.
He was pissed. It's like you missed the whole point of the movie. They made it. But
and see, I like that. I just wish they didn't do the fake out. Like, I just do either or. Either kill him or do it like they made it. Maybe he got messed up and goes to the hospital, but don't try to make me think he died. You know, just show me what he looked like, because he looked fucked up. You know, just show me that, and I'll have that awe factor still. You know, not the same kind, but you can still go with that and they make it. I think it would have been fine.
I think it was more just to bring you in.
It was a very, like, 90s cheap trick to give an extra emotional bump at the end of the movie that it didn't need. Like, I hate when they do that. Like, don't do that. Like, none of us like death fake-outs anymore. Like,
no, it's so annoying.
I mean, you can do it, but it's very tough to do it
right. If
in, like, a good
right.
way. There are ways you can do a fake-out death, but it has to be done extremely well. Like when they do the double fake out where it's like you think one person dies and it's actually the other person that died and you're like, oh shit, I thought it was the other person. Like
but my brother, I mean, I will give the credit to this because this was his complete analogy or his comparison. So shout out to my brother Matt Toke. His comparison, basically the way he describes this movie for people who haven't seen it or who's trying to get people hooked onto it, it's Forrest Gump meets Huckleberry Finn.
Yes, very much. Yep. Yeah, I get that. 100%.
Yeah.
I got that vibe of the Forrest Gump. The only thing being, like, they didn't... It's more Huckleberry Finn than Forrest Gump, I think. But you can see the comparisons.
Or Of Mice and Men and Huckleberry Finn.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of. I would say not Forrest Gump only because there's no real, like... There's no time jumps or anything like that. There's no, like, different things that happen. It's kind of like three... separate incidences.
Yeah.
But the early stage I could see, being like a
trying to explain this movie is kind of wild. Like, you have this guy who runs into this Down syndrome guy who escaped from a nursing home, and he's going to help him get to wrestling school because he's on his way to Florida because he was stealing crabs, and then he just set the bitch on fire. So they run into each other, and they're on a boat, and they're eating peanut butter and fish, and he's the Peanut Butter Falcon, and this movie sounds so dumb, but then look what we got. You know, it is very well done. Like I said, I do have some issues with it, but overall, it is a great film. And Shia LaBeouf, man, he has the chops, in my opinion, to be like a Leonardo DiCaprio. Yes, I really feel that way. I think he's incredible.
Just he's got to keep his headspace in the right area.
Yes,
that's the main thing. And I get it.
He just can't do it.
Seems to be doing all right now. He actually, he was a guest star. John Bernthal has like a podcast, and he had Shia LaBeouf on as a guest, and I highly recommend you guys watch it if you haven't. The conversation that they have, and Shia LaBeouf explains some of the hard things that he was going through in his life, and it really puts everything into perspective, and I really respect Shia LaBeouf after watching that. I really do feel like he's trying to turn his life around, and I mean, he's got the talent. He really does. But I highly recommend you guys check that out. It's really good.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up, Alex. Looks good. All right, Toke, maybe take us home with your drink of the week.
So this one's going to be a little fun, a little different. I've done a lot of cocktails in the past, so I'm going to do a beer cocktail for you today.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, we're going to call this it's called the Corona Sunrise. You need a Corona. You got to drink some out of it. Tequila.
You know, I've actually had one of these before. Pretty good.
All right. They are delicious. OJ.
We used to take some of the 40 out and put orange juice in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Grenadine.
It's like
Give it that nice color. Only problem is it foams it up. But we'll get there. There we go. Nice little color there.
Yeah, I like that.
Cheers.
It's a beaut.
I was gonna say spin it up. Yeah.
Oh my god. Cheers.
Oh man.
All right.
Delicious.
It's amazing. It's amazing like always. Good shit, Toke. All right. That's going to do it for us this week. We'll be on kind of a long break because some asshole decided to go to Florida after someone else already went to Florida. Looking at myself when I say that.
Go have a good time.
Decided to go on vacation.
Yeah, vacation.
Have a blast.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
I will.
Yeah.
I don't have much planned, but just sitting on a drink on a beach and getting drunk.
Sounds great.
That sounds fantastic because I did not do that.
I might steal some of those Corona Ritas. That idea and make some of those. So, from all of us, I'm continuing my top 100. I'm getting way down to it. There's probably by the time you're seeing this, I just posted a video where I had a couple friends on to do 300 Black Hawk Down and Watchmen.
Ooh.
So that was posted today. Today as in Thursday the 23rd. So by the time you're seeing this, is already out. Go check that out if you want. I have one more episode left with a special guest, and then I'm doing a live stream for my last 10, my top 10. So that'll be fun. You guys will have to jump in there and help the conversation get going and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Those top 10 movies.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm basically working on. Josh, what you got going on?
I'm just working on this, check out the clips. Gonna be trying to push more clips out through Facebook so you guys can see them on there. Check out our TikTok, and yeah, like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Always good time.
And Toke, where are you drinking at? What's the address?
You can find me at toke.24_NR on TikTok, toke_official on Instagram, and Eric Tokanel on Facebook.
Now, are you still doing the Friday night things on TikTok?
Yep, I still go live pretty much every Friday. Saturday night I'm usually live. So this is Thursday the 23rd. So tomorrow night, Saturday night, I'll be live. I actually have a TikTok friend coming in from New York. Gonna hang out. We'll be hanging out in the Toke Lounge, and we'll be hanging out doing some live shit.
Cool. All right, from the Personified Fandom podcast, it's all of us. We'll catch you next week. Peace out.
Love you guys.
Oh, hey, look at you. You made it to the end of the video. Well, if you like what you saw, be sure to hit that like button. Also, hit that subscribe button. Should be over here, I hope. Also, check out some of the other videos we have on the channel right over here. Do it. Click the video. Click the video. Dude.